Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Firepower Podcast. This is a podcast about all things firepower. Ooh, lots of energy today. I feel it. I feel it in the air.
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman is the creator slash writer. Chris Samnee is the co-creator slash artist. Matt Wilson is the colorist. Russ Wooten, the letterer. Sean Makowitz, the editor. Andre Juarez, the logo and production designer. And Karina Taylor, production. So last issue, we saw Owen's reunion with Wei Lun, and after he learned that his allegiance to the Scorched Earth clan, bested by his pupil, Wei Lun told him that his time at the Temple of the Flaming Fist was based on a lie. The order was actually founded to protect the dragon. Ooh, twist, twist, Kirkman, twist, I see you. At that moment, Qiu Feng's assassins, the Dragon's Claw, attacked, forcing the Johnson family to flee for safety after Wei Lun is impaled with a spear. Okay, let's do this. So, firepower number 7. How's everybody doing today? I'm Bash, your host, and I'm joined by my friends and my co-hosts Ellie and Charlie, ready to talk about flaming fists, dragons, vegetarian dogs, and everything that comes with it.
I mean, Waylon's dead. Owen's on the lookout for danger. Everybody's freaking out. It's a new arc. It's technically the third arc if you count the OGN, but it's exciting times for sure.
Yeah. Honestly, I always forget about that first arc. Like, just the numbering always throws me off. But doing good. Ready to talk about this issue. Had a curling practice earlier, and I like the beginning of the curling season, but it's like sometimes like where my teams are located. Sometimes I have to drive like 4 hours for a 1 hour practice. So
Oh, jeez.
that is just not fun at
No.
all. But we got out on the ice, had some fun there, and ready to talk about this. I read Somnee's actually first issue of Daredevil before this, just because I was kind of
Oh,
curious,
hell
and
yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Have you read through that, Bash?
Yeah, my LCS owner just gave me because I kept talking about how Chris Samnee is just like my favorite artist, and then he just gave me like the whole run for free. He just like gave it, and then he
Wow,
picked
that's
it up.
awesome.
He literally just picked it
Yeah.
up from the sets, and he was like, "You see this? This is like Mark Waid and Samnee's run." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Just take it," and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, just take it. Like, trust me, you need that." And I'm like, "Oh my god." And I'm like,
Okay.
so yeah, I went home and I read it, and yeah, I like Mark Waid. I don't care for Daredevil like at all, and it's not because like I actually really respect Daredevil. I think he's one of the greatest characters in like superhero comics, and I think he's the most consistently written character in the big two.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
100%.
like his stories are always the best, but I just don't care for the character. I just find that he's like
Yeah.
he's
No,
like
that's fair.
Catholic Nightwing. You know what I mean? Like Catholic
Yeah. No,
Nightwing
that's
with
fair. That's
trauma.
fair.
So with like
Yeah.
worse trauma, so or like different trauma, but it's just like so it's like for me, I only want one person with eskrima sticks, and I'll take the one that's that's the Dick because I like Dick Grayson. Uh, but anyway, but yeah,
What
let's
a way to start this podcast.
oh
All
yeah.
right.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the first thing you notice, really, aside from the scenic, Owen having the amazing moment on the rooftop of it seems like the Bill Johnson household, so his adoptive parents' home, because right now they're hiding from the people that invaded their home last, Jin Kanabo and the assassins that Chu Feng sent. I just want to say, like Matt Wilson's coloring is the first thing that sticks out, and in the RC Coda, we'll get into it more, but even Robert and Chris talk about like, oh yeah, they want to give Matt the chance to show off his skills here, and I just love it. I love like this book. They go through a lot, and I love that we have Matt here to just like color uh, basically the tone of the book with his colors, and you can really feel it in between the transitions between scenes. Like here, it's a dawn. I'm assuming they just had a rough night. They're still recovering from it. Owen's got a lot on his mind, and it's a perfect scene, truly.
We've touched on Matt Wilson's coloring multiple times, but specifically, like you said, the environments, whether it be in this case, it's like either early morning or sunset. I'm gonna assume early morning, and then a few issues ago when they were fighting at night with like the cool blue colors. And we'll see a
Or an
little more in this,
airplane.
or an airplane exactly. Like it's he's very great at setting the setting. I guess he's very great at showing the setting, what time of day it is, where are they, and the mood of the current scene as well. So it's a little bit of collaboration between Somni and Wilson, and they talk a little bit about that in the coda too, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost looks like the lights like reflecting off the roof a little bit, like in that first panel. Like it's just just absolutely genius. But I was gonna ask you guys, is that another sighting of a butterfly there right beside him, or is that a leaf just falling there? Because
I
that's
can't tell. Is it a
I
bird,
can't.
butterfly? I can't tell.
Yeah, I honestly like I wasn't sure because I was thinking maybe like is that something that they would want to show us? Like if it was a butterfly, is that something they would
I
prominently
feel
show
I feel
there,
like
or
if it was a
that's
butterfly, it
just
would be a little bit
It would be more
more.
clear.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
You
I
know,
think I'm just
I
focused on
actually
this at this point.
yesterday I was doing a lot of errands, and I was going from store to store. I had a lot of returns, shopping to do, whatever. And on my last like leg of my errands, I saw a butterfly in the parking lot, and I immediately thought of like firepower and the book and everything. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
you had your
time
Owen
to get
Johnson
home.
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Did you just
yeah,
like
yeah.
run
yeah.
away? We're like, shit, we have to check for the ninjas, look in
Bro,
the
I just
rearview
did a
mirror.
Spider-Man jump over the fence and like jumped through the window into my car and just drove back home. Hell yeah.
Make sure there's no like lanky old men following you, But
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
do love this scene here, and I like that. I like how on edge he is, and we see that multiple times. First, when Kelly shows up, I loved like her expression. You could just see the shock in her face, like what?
He's just always on defense mode, right? Like he just needs to keep this away from his family. That's just been his thing, like since the beginning, and like now that it's here and they're just trying to get away. Like honestly, I remember last issue saying like it was a lot. Like like Owen was trying to go back and fight, and like he wanted to go back and help them, but at the same time, like he knew he needed to get his family safe. So that just shows like he left like one of his best friends like in Wei Lun to protect his family. So now they're off that. But yeah, just always on edge. And I love how I love this next scene too when the dad, Mr. Johnson, yells down that backflip off the roof. I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that.
Oh yeah, and you could tell like they've been on edge when even Kelly's like, look, your teacher, we know for a fact he's dead, but we just left Reggie there, and he's just like, it's
Yeah.
finally hitting him.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, like shit, we left Reggie there, but like he could take care of himself probably. It's just like you could tell like he just freaked
I
out,
wanted to say at first when I heard that, when I said, "Oh, Reggie can take care of himself," for some reason I thought they were talking about Tyler, like that little kid that they
Oh, poor
dropped off like way
Yeah.
back. I thought that's who they were talking about. Yeah. Oh
No,
yeah,
no,
he can
no.
take care of himself. Oh, he's all good. I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
I wonder what's happening with that guy right now. I
Yeah,
wonder what
poor
he's
poor
doing.
Reggie, like they owe him, right? Like he got their back. He was keeping an eye on them, even though it was a little bit creepy stalkery, but it was all for good cause. I feel like Kelly feels like a double weirdness there because he's also her partner, as in like police partner. So
Yeah.
must be like a weird bittersweet feeling knowing like your partner who's also not really your partner, but someone who's been sent to kind of watch over you and your family is kind of in danger, and if that same person just risked their life to help you escape last issue. So I like the silhouette too.
There's gonna be a lot of silhouettes in this issue, but I realized Owen didn't even change yet. He's still wearing his like his shirt, and his suit is right next to him. He's still wearing his dress shoes. They're definitely not comfortable right now.
Oh, and it's interesting because, yeah, like you said, he just does that crazy flip and just lands down. And his dad's. I like Bill because not only is he like comedic relief and he gives you an idea of what the tone of the book is like, because the first two pages it's kind of morose, but we're a little bit sad recovering from last issue, but now it's a little bit more giving you like, yeah, there's still some comedy, some. I like how he's just there. He's kind of trying to be supportive in his own way, but Owens just giving him the look like, really? But yeah, we go back to the others who were last issue. Where left off, we saw Reggie and Wei Lun on the ground, passed out in pools of their own blood. We realized that Reggie, only like these are still warriors from the clan, so scorched earth clan. So they're still very capable, and that all that Reggie needed was a second really to make his escape, and we see that he's got like a heart of steel and a lot of courage because in that second he grabs Wei Lun and just makes a run for it, and these people chasing them, Jay, Kanabo, and the others, they're killers, they're ruthless killers, and they're not. I don't think they're going to hesitate when it comes to killing him. So that even like she tells him like. Kanabo says, "I thought he was dead," and sorry, Jay says, "I thought he was dead." And Kanabo says, "Make sure next time." So, damn. Or Jin says, make sure next time. So damn, and then we get a huge moment that I think it's almost like the Dark Crisis Green Lantern moment where you see the Shurikens and then there's all the ninjas. You know, the backups here, the Avengers through the portals and everything. Yeah, the backups
Cavalry
here.
has arrived. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love these uniforms, and just like just the distinction of all the ninjas too, and just like the page is just so packed, it's like almost overwhelming in a way, like with how many there are. And no, just another awesome fight scene here. And I just wanted to say thank God Wei Lun's not a huge guy, because must be tough carrying him all that way. Like he's got to go quite a distance. Like it's got to be tough.
Yeah, and praise to both Chris Samnee and the colorist, because obviously Chris Samnee does such an incredible job with every issue, and you know, him being my favorite artist, we could just gush about him every episode for the whole, you know, the whole time, the whole duration. But here, in particular, one thing I think is that when it's a very packed scene of action like this, it's easy to lose track of what's going on, but it's not the case in this one. It's both the coloring and the artwork make it very clear. It's very like visible who's
that's a good
what.
point.
Yeah, so the design, it's a good like character design in the sense it's easy to tell who's who, you know, apart even when they're thrown in there mixed with a bunch of bodies. And the action is very clear, so I really like that. I like that the colorist, Matt Wilson, does a good job of you know, setting the characters apart, because you can see there's different tones of color to the different clothes they have. For example, like Kanabo's wearing this like reptilian-looking armor almost, whereas Jin is wearing lighter colors, a light purple, and then a slightly darker purple in terms of the vestments. So she sticks out compared to the other characters there. I really like that. And we get a sense of Chu Feng's ruthlessness. Like they're scared because even though they're all killers, they're scared to go home empty-handed because you know he's gonna kill him.
Yeah, which is weird. Like I remember we were saying, like, from the very start of that prelude, we were getting some good vibes from him, but we can just tell like he is very just for the cause. Like he is very, I don't know if it's blind faith or just like he wants at this point, like he's dedicated his whole life to this. Like he, even if he learns the truth, like he can't really turn back at this point, kind of thing. But no, he's this next page, one of my favorites for sure. And I think there's we get another one later on too.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, for
but
the
yeah,
kids in it.
no, this one was an absolute treat for sure. I wonder where they got all these clothes from, like all these street clothes. They just took them out of some suitcases on the way, or
I love how they're all beat up, like with bandages.
They stick out like a sore thumb.
Like it's not
for
subtle.
sure.
It's not subtle whatsoever.
It's smart that they're all like seats apart. I appreciate the detail in that, to have them be like,
But
we don't know each other.
Yeah. Kanabo has 2 full seats to himself. Like,
oh my God, you're right.
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah. So I love that. And then in the next shot, we're back in the hometown, and we're back at the Johnson residence. The actual Owen Johnson and his family residence, not the one that they're hiding out, not the Bell Johnson residence. And we see that we see the paper boy making the morning rounds. He tosses the paper and it hits the Johnson family door, and we get a glimpse of the inside wreckage, obviously from the battle that ensued the night before. And the member that they killed, that Owen killed with the sword. It turns out she's not actually dead. She has this, her eyes are red as fuck. It looks like she hit that ganja real good, but she's awake, and that was scary. I remember like this is the kind of thing, like if you're watching a show, like the moment she opens her eyes, they play like a very light piano sound.
Yeah, it's like, what are these guys on? Like, I don't know if they're normal people, or maybe these people know how to move all their precious organs around, what we're going to talk about later, and got clean stabbed through. But yeah, I don't know. I love this callback anyways. Like right after seeing this, it made me go back to issue 5 right away.
Right.
And look at that scene. But yeah, that was the one with the fire sword, right? Where Owen.
Yeah. It was like out of nowhere too, because he was just defending himself, and then he suddenly just stabs this chick to make a statement almost. You know?
That was one of his first really rage moments, like when they're attacking.
Yeah. It's Jason Todd moment right there. Yeah. No, I mean, I just want to say in the next page, we're back at the Bill Johnson residence. So we're at the adoptive parents' house, where they're hiding out. And I just want to say this is the second panel in this issue where Peanut Butter's pissing in the background. So I don't know what Peanut Butter is having, like bladder issues or all that that vegetarian food just doesn't digest the same. It's the second panel of this issue where Peanut Butter is just whizzing away. So I just appreciate that.
That's actually, I didn't even know that. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. There's the
Were you-
first one at the beginning.
This is the first one. You'll see the second one later on. It'll be in
Oh,
the
okay, okay,
background.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we're at the Bill Johnson residence, the adoptive parents of Owen Johnson. They're hiding out here, and I love this because again, they're setting the tone, and you get to see almost it's really cool because you get to see kind of the environment that Owen grew up in, and you also see like how juxtaposed their families are, like how his family, though they're not his birth family, they love him and they welcome him, but at the same time you could see elements of that of course of his life, his experiences in his own family. In the same way, I think one way that it shows in a funny way is that there's this dynamic between Bill and his wife, Nana Johnson, where she's almost always teasing him about the stupid things he's saying, and I feel like we have a sort of similar element with Kelly and Owen, but also like I feel like I see a little bit of the what is it, the attitude that Haley has. Like you can kind of see it from Nana as well, because Nana's got a little bit of like attitude. I love it.
100%. 100%. Yeah, no, I like that. The whole family dynamic for sure is like one of the best things about this comic, and like one of the best like good stories. You always have to relate to the characters, or always have to like be connected to the characters and care about the characters, and that's how like these guys make such a good story. And yeah, no, I love the slight facial stuff that Samnee does on this page too, like he always does. But it kind of reminded me, I forget what issue it was, but it was Kelly, when Kelly was mad at Owen, and she was home and she was perfectly fine, but she had to show that she was mad at him, so she just instantly puts on that kind of like bitter face to go outside, just to kind of put that facade on. And Bill's doing the same thing, except just opposite here. He's really just thinking like they're in huge danger here, and like a lot's going through his head, but he's just got to stay positive. And it shows. He looks over, puts a smile on his face, and just tries to cheer Owen up, because he knows negativity is not gonna get them anything. Like it's just yeah, it's a tough situation all the way around.
He's the never-ending comedic relief right now. Yeah, but I see it. It's I can't tell if he truly can't help it, because he says he's never been good at reading a room. But I think it's definitely helpful in a situation like this to have someone like a little bit lighthearted or calmer than everyone else to balance it all out, instead of just being a full-on panic fest.
So yeah, I think some levity is much needed in these moments, and is appreciated. And even though Haley, I think Haley, they do a good job of uh, showing like basically that she is a teenager, that her emotions are like over the top, because she does react with like in those ways. She does have those like fits where you can tell it's not like a bitch fit, but it's more like it's like they're so concerned, they don't know how to articulate that concern. There's so many emotions in the moment flooding, and it just comes out in like kind of almost a little bit of like anger and contempt. And we see that here where, Bill makes a joke like, tell the brother he's making everyone, family pancakes and breakfast. And, he asks how many pancakes they want. And Doug's just like, I don't know. He's like, I'll start with one. We'll go from there. But then he brings over a plate of pancakes and bacon to Doug. And then he says, tell this brother of yours to eat some pancakes. If he dies of starvation, the bad guys win. Of course, like, I don't think Bill truly understands what they went through, because, he wasn't there. But her reaction says it
And
all.
I tried to warn him. She tried to warn him right away. It's kind of like
Haley blew up on him.
yeah, literally, like I was gonna say, it kind of reminded me of like someone, like those shows, like someone like accidentally steps on like a landmine or something, and then like you're like, oh shit, like the tension, you just know that an explosion's gonna happen. And yeah, that's exactly what does happen. She just she just goes off, and we've seen this to a smaller extent, but I just love we get kind of the whole page of just the emotions, like the very sudden like come up of the emotions, and then just her realizing kind of on herself, like
the 5 stages of grief,
yeah. Oh, and she was just like in her, I love that the most. Like she kind of notices herself and she apologizes, like she's scared, and that just shows like how kind of mature she has. Yeah,
she checks herself.
100%.
I like the hug she gives her. She's like, I'm sorry, Papa, I'm just really scared. And it's totally understandable, and I think he gets it. And Kelly in the moment, she's upset, but Owen just realizes that like he takes a step back, you know, he looks at it from a different perspective and realizes he kind of put everybody into this situation, whether he meant to or not. And that's where he assumes responsibility for it. He promises his family that he's going to fix it. And that's where we finally get the revelation for the rest of the family, not counting Kelly, of course. And I'm assuming his parents already know, but that's where he finally tells the kids, like, look, when I was 18, I went on a journey to discover myself, and it just brought me through this like martial arts shenanigans, you know? And that's when Kelly or Haley, I think she has a big, like, this is where we see growth from the earlier moment where she had like a moment of weakness in terms of losing her cool with her grandfather. Here it's the opposite. Here she shows strength and maturity and even wisdom, where she says, "Okay, like, is this why you had us training with you? You know, like typical teenager asking the questions, the important questions and the deep questions." And then you know she sees, yeah, like in Owen and Kelly's eyes that yeah, that is why. And she says, "Did you know this could happen?" And he basically explained that they were worried, but it looks like she's gonna blow up again. And it's very clever the way they did this because it's at the end of the page, right? You have to like flip the page to see what happens, but you see that she doesn't actually overreact. She says, big moment of growth from her, and why she's my favorite character. She says, "Please don't keep us in the dark again. I promise we can handle it. We're not babies." And then Doug says, "Yeah." And I think I like Tara or Haley a lot
Love
because she
Doug.
reminds me of Tara a little bit from Invincible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so from now on, no secrets, and I think this is a big moment of growth for the whole Johnson family. It's a good relief and recovery from earlier, but I just love how Bill immediately just bills the moment, and I love that it's Bill here because if you listen to the Invincible podcast, which we love, it's also Bill in that podcast that like you know they all give him shit for, so it's almost like he's having a Bill moment. I think that's just a double funny. I don't know. Kirkman, are you incorporating a little bit of Bill Hockey, as my friend likes to call him? But it's Bill Hake, really. Yeah, no. I love that he says, as long as you keep quiet while the game is on. And then his wife, Nana, just gives him that look like, are you fucking kidding me? And I love it. That's like, I love dude, Bill is like, any issue with Bill or peanut butter is already like a 10 in my book.
No, it's so good. Like that reaction. That's literally like my grandparents to a T. Like they're like this all the time. Like like just like and it's just like almost like a dog on a leash, right? Like you just pull the leash and he's just instantly like shitting his pants. But I absolutely love that. But no, again, like you were mentioning before about like the different like stage, like how he sets the different stages and in the transitions. Like this is definitely one of the biggest ones for me. Like how it goes from that kind of look just to the transition to the hospital, and we see Wei Lun chilling there, not looking so good, and yeah, we see Reggie coming in to check on him, and just the darkness and everything in this panel. Like we've talked about how good he's like he's so good at highlighting the things you need to look at in a very dark space. But yeah, just all the blues and on this page really look awesome.
Yeah, I like the silhouette. It obviously sets the tone again in this mood, and I don't mind like the uses of silhouettes like this when they're so effective. Yeah, it's also like a double thing, like a double whammy in terms of not whammy, but you know, a double. No, really, it's a two bird one stone thing because they can. You know, it saves the artist time when they silhouette the thingies because they don't have to draw the full details and everything. But also, it could create in the right moment. It's not so much of a like you know skip or save me time thing, but it also creates a really good tone and mood. And in this case, I think it's appropriate because, like you said, the colors naturally lead your eyes to Wei Lun and the drip bag and just the screens, and you see like, okay, this guy's in the heat of it in the hospital. Is he gonna be okay? And then you see in the background like there's this almost like the depressing tone, like where it's ambiguous, right? You don't know if he's gonna be okay or not. But then she says like, okay, you brought him in, and it seems like, oh shit, are we gonna get some noise? But then we see the wave on the screen, and it's like, no, his heart's intact, but it's almost like it moved, and you're just like, oh man, this is some Kill Bill shit. You know, like this takes me back to the scene in Kill Bill where she's busting out of the coffin. You know what I mean? Where she's doing the punch taking. I forgot what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, she busts out of the coffin. It's just absolutely ridiculous, but it's just like it just also kind of makes sense because it's crazy, wacky, but in the best way, you know?
Yeah, no, literally. And I think they kind of can even compare like just the craziness of this scene to Kill Bill, like in the RC Coda.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah.
We'll
It
talk
reminds me
about
like
after, but
Lord of the Rings, like the newest
yeah.
episode. The guy catches the fucking arrow and then shoots it back, and I'm
Oh,
just like, this is
that
like the kind of crazy that works.
was
You know what I mean?
That was dope. No, I was literally thinking of Firepower watching that scene. Except Firepower still like I've still never seen that deflection. Like they actually deflect the arrows. Like it would
Right?
be like it would be actually hard to catch them. Like I feel like they'd be going too fast. So the deflection's kind of I don't know. It's just a different way of doing it. But no, either way, it's awesome. And I see I'm guessing this next scene is where we see Peanut Butter taking that second whiz there, eh?
Oh yeah. But I just
Yeah.
love that he has a ridiculous explanation, like, oh yeah, training my diaphragm, I could teach you someday. And then
Oh
Reggie's
yeah.
just like, and he's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, they're
Skip by that.
talking, and he's just like, but seriously, later you'll teach me. And then he pretends to be asleep. It's just like, dude, Kirkman is good at writing this kind of comedy, man. He's talented at this kind of thing. And I love in this episode, we also get a sense of like we've talked about before how he writes good dialogue or intelligent dialogue in the sense that the characters aren't stupid. Like they do make connections. And we saw that earlier with Haley making the connection that okay, they were trained for this reason, and we're gonna see that later with Haley making the connection in another issue about how basically the dragon, you know, like is it real, is it not real? We'll see. Like they make their own conclusions. Actually, it's in this issue. It's in this issue later. So it's in the next page actually. It's in this page actually. So yeah, we get to it. So yeah, we see that Nana is trying to give bacon to peanut butter, and I love the look on. This is like signature perfection from
That's
Samnee.
exactly how I feel with
Yeah,
the whole peanut butter vegetarian thing. I'm like,
like
really?
like Pam's just like I mean Callie tells Nana, I guess her name is Pam. She's like, Pam, I told you he doesn't like bacon. Peanut butter is a vegetarian. If it was guacamole, it'd be gone. And then she says, vegetarian dog. I've never heard of such a thing. And we see in the background that Doug and them, they're still training, and
Yeah.
that's when you get again perfect expression from Haley's face, and she just turns around, and this is the image I'm going to use to promote the episode because I loved it so much and I think it's funny and appropriate. Where she says, "I think the dragon's really real," and that's just something a teenager would say, like really real. I think they'd be like it's real, but then they say, but then she's explaining. She's like, "Look," and this is what I love about like Kirkman's characters and dialogue. He says, "I know it seems crazy, but your teacher seems smart and not even a little bit crazy. And we've got people flying all over the world trying to kill us." And then Doug says, "Capture us." And she says, "Whatever. The point is, I don't think everybody would be committed if it wasn't real. This is way too big to be a prank, and there's too many people doing too many things all
Way
for
too
all of
big to
these."
be a prank. I love that.
Yeah, it's really
Exactly.
good reasoning from a teenager, and
Yeah, I
there's
know.
peanut butter in the background, just
Yeah,
serenading
I
the
see it now.
grass. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So then she says, "I guess dragons are real, huh?" And that's where Owen interrupts, and he says, "I hate to burst your bubble, but I actually slipped past the dragon guard one day and got into the room, and it was empty. No dragon. I don't think it's real. Dragons, this is none of my business." And that's where Pam just leaves, and she's like, what is this discussion? But and I agree. I know Kirkman pointing to South Dakota. I love Doug's reaction. He was like, "Ghost!" And they turn around and they see Wei Lun, and he's like, "I assure you, I am very much alive." And with Reggie, very heroic image. I love the way they're standing there. I love this image overall. It's really nice and wholesome moment. Another wholesome moment right after where Owen is just so relieved, sorry, that he charges him with happiness, and he knows hugging him, and he's like not quite in hugging shape. And then the issue ends
Yeah.
with yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take it easy on him after just getting stabbed almost in the
But he
heart.
like
Like, come
Waylon
on,
likes
man.
it, man. Waylon likes it though, man. He's like
No, I know.
smiling and
Like you shake
I
him
don't
a
think
little
he'll
bit,
ever
his heart
admit it,
starts
but he
erupting
definitely
again.
likes
Like
it.
who fucking like fuck? Like he actually charged into him pretty hard there. I was like, holy, like a little bit concerned, but no, it was a pretty wholesome moment for sure.
100%. But yeah, and I love again credit to Matt Wilson's coloring. Like just look at the difference between this page where we're outside the Johnson residence, and then the next
Yeah.
page where we're back at the temple, and it's just completely different setting. It almost like it looks desolate. It's much darker. You know, the tone is completely different, and that's where you see Chu Feng serving some ass whooping to the others, and is beating the
Beating these
shit
guys
out of
up.
them. Tough love, or even just tough hate. Fuck it, is beating the
Yeah.
shit out of them. Yeah, I mean these guys aren't like slouches either. Like Kinabo is a big motherfucker, right? And Jin is very powerful. So Chu Feng just here giving us an idea of how powerful he is, while at the same time showing us the repercussions. And I love this little zoom in on the Master Shah. I remember the first time we read this story, we were all thinking at this point, like, and we're not gonna say what happens. We were thinking at this point, like, Master Shah is gonna appear next issue, like 100%.
Look,
Like,
we said that like every issue for like
yeah,
6 or
Yeah.
7 issues there. I was like,
Yeah,
next
yeah.
issue is gonna be the one. Next issue is gonna be the one, and they keep teasing it with these like little panels here and there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you know, I'm gonna say a big spoiler in the next 20 seconds. So if you're not caught up with Firepower, skip the next 20 seconds. But if you read the RC Coda at the very end, they actually spoil the Master Shah returns.
I know. I can't believe they did that.
Retroactively, I can't believe they did that.
I
Yeah, like I
can't.
can't believe they actually did that. They can actually
Yeah.
spoil the Master Shah eventually. Like, he
Kirkman
will be-
literally says like wait,
spoilers,
where does
yeah.
it go?
But like,
Oh,
I remember at the time when we watched it, and we're like, you know, another spoiler. Skip the next 10 seconds if you haven't read the issue and not up to date. But you know, when you read the next issue and you see the Master Shah doesn't actually show up, we were like, oh, maybe they're just fucking with us, right? Because Kirkman loves to do that. But no, you realize now in hindsight, like, there's a lot more to it than just that. Spoilers over.
And Zhou Feng doesn't even look beat up, like, and it's crazy because like this Dragon Claw team, like, actually, like, they messed up Wei Lun pretty good, and Reggie, like we saw in these last issues just how strong they are. So just to see all 4 of them being like just absolutely just messed up at one time, like all at once, it really makes me anticipate a Zhou Feng versus like Wei Lun or something fight later on, or versus Owen. Like, it just shows his power. Like, he kind of never really showed it until now. But yeah, just shows how much of a beast he is.
Exactly. You could tell, like, the blood on his hands isn't even his blood, it's their blood from beating the shit
Yeah.
out of them. Yeah. I just want to say something really cool this issue that I noticed reading through the letter section. I noticed that Charlie Adlard, who is the artist for The Walking Dead, sent in a letter for this issue that was printed in the letter section. And he was basically just talking about how he's loving Firepower, how he thinks it caters to all of Robert's strengths, and it's beautiful writing, and it's one of the top reads that is on his read list with Lazarus. So I just thought that was really cool. It's so cool. The fact that Charlie sent in a letter, like Charlie Adlard, and they actually put in a letter section, to me, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it's really cool when you see those little moments of respect between professionals, when they're like, they always, you know, at least in my experience, like in my interactions with all these comic book professionals, I find that all of them do read a lot of comic books still, when they have time, and it's always nice to see them just, you know, compliment each other, or, you know, whatever. It's just cool. So I thought that was really cool. The coda itself, yeah, we talked about earlier how this was one of the more bland editions of RC Coda. They start at the beginning. I thought it was funny. They were talking about how, and they never, you know, they were like, we're not pointing any
They
fingers at
didn't say
anyone
it outright,
specifically.
but
Yeah, they're like,
you
we're not
know
saying
what
it's
they're
you,
talking about.
Marvel, but it's you, Marvel. And they were just like, we don't like, you know, big two scheduling and all that crap because it was hectic. And I think even like Chris Samnee said, it feels like, you know, he feel now working with Firepower, working on Firepower, and his book, John and Impossible Monsters, it feels like there's no weight on his chest like it did. And he says, yeah, but I don't have a weight on my chest when I'm trying to get pages done. So it's interesting to see that perspective.
Yeah, it was cool them mentioning that, and I don't know, I know they kind of mentioned this before, like how they've kind of just written it and like done this book in an OGM format, like not knowing where the issues are, like just giving kind of a bigger timeline to Samnee and just letting him draw like more at once. But I love how just kind of hearing like them like just working in secret for a long time before the book was actually announced, because when it is announced, right, like people expect you to get it out there and people want you to get it out there, and I'm sure Kirkman has a lot of experience with that. Yeah, so it was cool. It was cool just hearing kind of that, like they wanted to get a good head start just before announcing it, that kind of thing.
Totally, I agree, and it's also interesting to see that, you know, they mention later on that they're talking about some of the pages they had to do for this issue, and you know, Chris Samnee says, it was really funny and candid, I find, but he says, you know, I had 2 stipulations. I didn't want to draw a million ninjas in the same issue, and I said if you were going to do a 2-page spread in an airplane, that was cool, but I don't want to draw a whole scene in the airplane because I don't think that I can make it work. And then
I
the
love
next
that.
issue, yeah, he just doesn't like airplanes. He's like, the next issue, there's a whole scene in the airplane, and I wanted to jump out of a window. There were so many drafts of mean emails to you that I just trashed. I still don't know if it worked. It's like, And he explains, he's like, and I can relate to this because I also don't really like flying, to be honest. But I fly like super long distances because our home is far away, so I fucking hate that. But he's saying like, look, I don't like airplanes because he has a mental catalog every time he goes somewhere, out whatever. He has a mental catalog of all the things he sees and how to draw that, which I think is very, very interesting, right? But
Yeah, no,
I love that. Yeah, like so a man of his craft and his passion. But then he says, I don't like enjoy being on airplanes, so I'm trying to put my brain elsewhere, and I don't have that catalog of what's inside a plane, so I have to look up references. Oh man, it was tough. I don't want to draw a plane again, Robert. It's like,
Little did he
Yeah.
know.
oh
yeah.
my! The next issue basically is a one big fuck you in that case. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I love that. No, I just love their whole dynamic. Like they're kind of like Chris knows he had like I love the freedom Kirkman gives him, but at the end of the day he knows he's just following the story. Like I love when Kirkman says like, oh like stardom, and is that like a word or whatever, and Samnee's like, yeah, it could be the new name for our book. I don't care, like it's a word now. You're the boss kind of thing. I just I love that. I love that. But no, they're fun, and this RC code is like, it's just I love getting this extra look at them. Like
Right.
it really just makes you appreciate the work they put into this book a lot
I-
more.
I mean,
really
Marvel
enjoyed-
Marvel will charge you $1 extra US just to have 2
Yeah.
pages, but like these guys, they won't charge you
Yeah.
shit for this amazing bonus director's commentary.
Yeah.
We get like Radiant Black issues where we get bonus pages, and they don't charge us extra anything.
And I will never forget that first issue too. Like they literally added fucking sketches, and like they added more shit than people do to like trade paperbacks. Like you only get that shit in most hardcovers and stuff. So like that was that this team just is super impressive. And yeah, love it.
I really enjoyed the part
yeah,
where
yeah,
they
go
talk about how, as good as Chris Samnee is, as good as we said he is, even however much praise Robert Kirkman gives him all these RC Codas, is how much he had to use whiteout in this issue. Like that part to me was insane. Like someone as good as Chris Samnee will make this many mistakes and struggle with something, and they mention other artists go through that too. Has a really good insight into like his process and some of the struggles that he faces. It's not all like easy and he'll churn out pages real quick. Sometimes he really has to think about it and work through it.
Kirkman collects original art. That's his secret hobby, motherfucker.
Yeah,
he
I like
admitted
that.
it.
I like
I
that.
see you, Kirkman. I see. I mean, I
No,
bet he
yeah.
has so much Transformers art because man loves Transformers. But that's awesome. I really like. I love that he's still like a nerd. Like he's still one of us.
Yeah, no, I love, Kirkman kind of mentions how that whiteout is kind of like when he was doing art, like it was kind of just a pain using whiteout, and I really thought this was an interesting, like how instead of using whiteout, like Samnee will actually just like scratch one of the layers like of the paper, because the paper is actually like multiple layers of ply, like they use thicker paper, so you can actually, it has a few different layers, so he has like one try, and then if he fucks up that second time, then he can use the whiteout after that. So I thought that was an interesting touch as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a great point. And to expand on that, he actually says, yeah, like I buy this. This is the best quote for me of the whole issue. He's like, this is Robert Kirkman saying, I buy a fair amount of original art because that's my secret passion. But I was always just started at how much whiteout and correction tape and different things that you see on the original art. I mean, the artist edition for The Dark Knight Returns is fantastic because it actually shows how much whiteout and correction tape and stuff is on there. There's panels that Frank Miller redrew over Klaus Janssen's inks, and things that Klaus Janssen decided to ink twice, and all kinds of crazy things. It's interesting to see that the professionals aren't getting it right on the first try, and very informative for any kind of artist out there that wants to get into art, to just know that everybody's messing up and covering up their mistakes. And moving on, and I love this joke, I find it reassuring, all right, now that we've sold Graffiti Designs as DC book, just like he literally promoted the fuck out of it. Yeah. And then Samnee's like, well, we can sell mine too. There's a Daredevil one. And I'm just like, first of all,
I was looking at that before that. Like I was searching up, like I was reading Daredevil. Have any of you guys checked that out? Like that actually.
No, I literally looked it up right after he said I'm gonna buy one if I can find one, because I'm like, man, like this is literally my favorite artist right now. Like I really think so. Like he just does it for me.
Yeah, that dude, like that just seemed like such a cool. Yeah, if I can get a my hands on one of those, I would definitely for sure. And
They're
getting one of those
huge
for
as well.
firepower would be amazing. Like
Oh,
seeing those scripts, seeing it, like man, that
yo, Robert,
one day.
Hollywood Bobby Kirks, my man, if you're listening, I'm asking
Yes,
for your
yes.
Zura and R personality right now. If you're listening,
Put it out there.
yeah,
Put
please
it
give us
out
some
there.
firepower merch, my guy. Like it's so dry on the Skybound store for firepower, and I get it, man. You're promoting Invincible, that shit's going to the moon and beyond. I totally respect that, but come on, us firepower people here, like it's so disheartening waiting for every Comics Vault live and asking Sean Kirkham if there's got to be a firepower variant, and then he's just like, oh my god, this fucker again. So it's just like, you know what I mean? But please, more firepower merch, man. I love firepower so much, and I want to buy firepower. So I'm not asking for anything crazy. I'm not asking for an action figure. I know that shit's expensive, but like, come on, a print, a poster, just a mug or something. Come on, man. Let me get my firepower.
They mentioned Master Shaw statue, so keep a lookout for that.
Dude, if they did that statue, man, oh my god, if they did that
Statue of the statue.
Yeah, Master Shaw he's something. Anyway, I think that's a good place as any to end it. You know, the next issue is incredible. We end it again on a cliffhanger, but if you look at the cover for the next issue, it's the same warrior that was with the dragon claw that got stabbed by Owen. She's coming back with vengeance.
Sick.
Yep.
Sword, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Anyways, yeah, and I think what we'll do for the next episode, because I read issue 8 and 9, and they work very well together, because the reason that we didn't do 2 today is because 8 ends like in a very, very big cliffhanger that is resolved immediately in 9. So I figured we'll do 8 and 9 together. Yeah, and that they'll work much better because they're basically the story.
And that's one thing I absolutely loved about like doing this podcast with you guys is like the first time I read through this thing, I just read through all the volumes like so freaking fast. Like I don't remember which issues which. Like I don't remember certain details until I get to them. So I can't wait, and still getting some of those surprises is good. So yeah, can't wait to talk about that. And it's good, an awesome start to the arc. This new arc, and the definitely continues to boost it up, I'm sure, from what I remember. And can't wait to talk about it.
If you're a fan of the characters in this comic book, then I'm happy to tell you that we're going to continue to get more characters in this book. So if you're the person who just like is super happy with the cast of Firepower so far, and you're looking forward to potentially more interesting characters, well, I'm happy to tell you there will be more characters. So that's one thing to look forward to. And I'm not going to spoil, obviously, who or what they are, but all I have to say is just stay tuned for more. It's always a good time. And thank you to the Firepower team for continuing to give us such an awesome comic book. I can't explain to you guys in particular, my friends, because we all talk about this all the time, but also to the listeners, how happy we were as a podcast and as a team and as friends to see that after issue 24, they're in fact not ending, but they're just doing a small hiatus, and then they're picking up with a completely new arc. So that's huge.
Did they say something about an OGN as well, or no, or an oversize?
That's us like speculating.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
That's like
that was just
the wishful thinking, and I hope they do that again. Like that would be amazing. But yeah, that would be my god. Yeah.
I'll just continue to cross my fingers then. Okay.
It'll be shit for Chris a little bit, but it'll be quite nice for Kirkman. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us today, and stay roasted.